I'm here at the bottom of the hill with Vero Sandler and a very sweet custom painted Santa Cruz V10. Vero, you want to tell us a little bit about your bike, about the paint job, just what you brought to Rampage this year?
Yeah, for sure. So my Rampage rig of choice is a Santa Cruz V10. And I've got a pretty special paint job. My dig crew basically got the paint pens out and just drew all over my bike the day before the first dig day. So I'm super stoked on it. It's definitely the most sentimental bike I've ever had. And there's so much. You can look at it for hours and still not see everything, which is so cool. And I love it. It's the sickest.
Honestly, I'm loving it. Is this a bike that you're familiar with? Have you been riding it a long time, or you kind of build it up for the event special?
No, this is so I ride a V10 all the time. That's my bike of choice for all the big air events and stuff that I go to. Obviously, if I'm riding downhill as well, I ride it. Mm-hmm. So this actual bike is new to me, but it's set up the exact same that I'd run it. So it just feels like I'm super comfortable on it. I'm super used to it. I've changed my settings a little bit just for the desert because it's a pretty unique type of terrain. But in general, it's set up how I would always ride it, and I love it.
Sweet. What do those settings look like?
Actually, it's been kind of tech trying to set my bike up. I was here for a week before the event, so I was riding every day and messing with my settings and trying to find I guess I wanted to find the perfect in between that it will feel all right on the tech stuff but also all right on the jumps. Yeah. So I've set it up on the stiffer side, but not as stiff as I usually run it, just because it's so loose up there. Now the venue that we got this year is so fucking steep, so it has to have a bit of traction. So yeah, I've set it up in between, and it feels pretty good.
Yeah, compared to just giant Darkfest jumps or whatever, It's definitely more tech.
Yeah, compared to say Darkfest, basically the only thing I've changed is my suspension's softer and my tires are softer. Okay. Yeah.
Sick. It looks like you're running a 26-inch rear wheel.
Yes.
27.5 front.
Yes.
Cool. Does that feel right? Even though it's tech and kind of rocky and shit?
I mean, again, this is the setup I'm used to. I've been running mini mullet all year, and I absolutely love it. It's definitely on the really steep stuff, it's been a little bit in my head, is my bottom bracket going to be too low and that kind of stuff. But there's a few of us with mini mullet setups, and so far so good. I haven't had any issues with it, and I love just the smaller, more maneuverable feel of it.
What is the thing about your bike that makes you feel confident to do something this wild?
To me, things that make me feel confident on the bike are my contact points. So my grip, hands on my grips and my feet on the pedals. So I got to make sure I've got dialed pedals, my shoes feel good, and then I don't wear gloves because I just feel more connected to my bike. Yeah. And I have these actually this is the first edition of a signature grip I'm working on with Bergtech. So they feel amazing. I'm super stoked on them. So that to me, those are the two things I jump on my bike and I feel good with my hands and my pedals, and I'm okay, let's go.
Awesome. Yeah. Wow. Thank you so much. Good luck tomorrow.
Cheers.
Bike looks sick.
Big up.
We got air support coming in. Yeah. It's our B camera.
Thanks,
he's gonna get a beautiful pan shot over the top of us.
He's out.
At the top of my head. All right, we are down in the pits with Sean Hughes, Robin Goome's mechanic. Sean is actually Richie Rude's full-time mechanic, but he's out here helping the Rampage squad for the week. Now, Robin just came down, hit the biggest drop on her line on this bike, and you're giving it a little once-over, checking things out. Can you kind of run us through the bike a little bit here?
Yeah, sure. Well, it's a Yeti SB165 in a small frame, and we're using the mini mullet setup, which is a 26-inch rear wheel, a 27.5 front wheel. This bike normally runs 29 front, 27.5 rear. Robin's got full of her own personal sponsors here, SR Suntour fork and shock, and full Shimano Saint componentry on it, with the exception of the XT cranks, which just work the chain line a little bit better for this bike. Envy wheel set, which is another cool little feature for her. They're really hard to get 26-inch carbon Envy rims, but they make a Freeride mold, which is pretty cool. And she's running her Kenda tires of choice, and a full finishing kit of deity components. So yeah,
good deal. As a mechanic, is it easier, harder for you working on a bike at an event like this versus an EDR or a downhill World Cup? How do they compare?
I'm going to say it's it's a similar amount of work in terms of the checking we do. It's not, don't always have to repair something or replace something or whatever goes on the hill, but it's, especially for these events, everything needs to be triple checked for tightness. They're sending themselves off some pretty big stuff, and it's the first big hits for us mechanics, seeing them land it's pretty awesome to see. And then you just got to I'm just going to check those things. I mean, I personally never doubt the work because we've done this for so long that we shouldn't be making any mistakes. But it's nice to know how well these bikes are holding together in the desert basically. So
now everybody always talks about like how crazy the setups are for Rampage specifically, like usually in terms of suspension setup, like it's like, oh, I'm running it super firm, I've got all the volume spacers. Is that the case with Robin?
Even with Robin, she's been on this particular fork and shock setup for quite a while, and she's got the feel pretty well dialed in. Definitely more suspension pressure in the rear than I thought most people would run. Like I'm used to obviously a lot of like enduro type stuff where they want the bike to sit in and work quite well, same with the downhill. Here it's all about just managing the big hits as well. Okay. They don't really need to have any like trail chatter compliance, but the big hits need to be taken care of. Robin she's a kind of small person, I guess a short person, she doesn't weigh much, so I was surprised I'm putting like 245 PSI in this shock and I know it's got quite a few volume spaces in there as well. So that's a little different for me, just making them as firm as possible, but like you said, I work for Richie, and Richie's stuff is usually pretty firm, but it's also pretty well dialed with his stuff. So.
Yeah, and different goals too. One question I'm asking all the athletes, and maybe you can answer for Robin, is there any sort of like good luck charm on the bike, like something that instills confidence more than the rest? I feel like, obviously this bike is something she's super used to, but it's his Rampage, like the hits are, as you said, about as big as they get. Like, is there some like mental fortitude thing that she's adding to the bike?
I guess the only really thing I've seen that she modified from when I built the bike originally is she put her own little personal wide open stem top cap on there, which she changed out from the Chris King headset sponsor. But I think that's just a bit of a nod to the guys that really looked after her from the early days when she was doing all this stuff. Yeah. And I guess, you look down at that and it's sitting there, it's kind of like, cool, let's do it for them.
It's a pretty good reminder.
But I can't speak for Robin, but as I said, that's the only thing I've seen that she's really changed on the bike. But
that's cool. That's a good little touch.
Yeah, she's pretty happy with the way everything works on the bike. I think it's more with personal touches in terms of what she really likes the feel of. It seems like, as they all do, they really want their brakes to be really hitting when they need it. So a little bit more attention paid to that stuff, but I'm used to that in the scene anyway, so yeah.
Good deal. Well, thank you, man. Appreciate it, and we'll get back in the shade.
Thanks.
I am here with Vinnie Armstrong and her Forbidden Dreadnought. This thing is fully Rampage ready. It's got a bunch of interesting little details to it, including some sweet like laser graphic hubs I'm just now noticing. What makes this a Rampage bike to you? Obviously, it's not a stock bike. Like, what are some details that stand out to you in terms of it being specialized for this event?
Well, normally the Dreadnoughts come as like a trail bike, so I've set it up as like a downhill freeride bike, and especially I've made it like mini mullet, so I put a 26 on the back, and then obviously like a downhill drivetrain, and then 27 on the front, and then dual crowns, which are 200mm, but I haven't changed the rear. The rear is still 160 travel. Yeah.
Okay, I was going to ask if you were bumping up rear travel. So that's like a pretty big difference from a lot of the field. A lot of people are on downhill bikes.
Yeah.
Does that bug you at all, or does it feel like the right bike for the course?
No, this thing feels perfect. Like, it handles exactly how I want it to, especially with the 26 on the back. It makes that rear end like a little bit shorter and poppier, especially for the jumps and like the control over drops and just all the features. Yeah, It's pretty perfect, to be honest. Is
there anything on this bike that makes you feel more confident? Like, obviously this is pretty heady stuff. Like, do you have like a good luck token or anything like that?
I guess like my good luck token would be my design that's been painted into the top tube.
It's just a little cartoon of you, but it's
it's like a cartoon of me, but it's almost like a reminder of like I can do this, and like I know how to ride a bike, so yeah.
No doubt. I love that. That's good. It's like, like you're meant to be here. Yeah. Like, you might as well like remind yourself of it right there. That's
exactly.
sick.
Yeah.
Everyone always asks about suspension settings. I feel like the assumption is Rampage is like you're running full tokens, like super hard suspension. Are you kind of in keeping with that, or are you trying to get more grip out of the shorter travel bike?
I've definitely gone for I definitely run like a pretty stiff, slow setup. Like, the rebound is completely as slow as possible, and the compression's pretty slow. Okay. It's not as stiff as I would normally run it on like big jump lines like Dream Track or like out in camloops or just like jumps, because I think you need like a little bit of softness just for like some of the impacts and to have grip on things, because you're like are braking a lot here. So slightly softer than what I would normally run, but all the way slow.
That makes sense. I mean, you're just talking about that crazy shoot on your line that you've got to like slow down enough for, and if you run like a rigid setup, it's not going to do much for you.
You're just going to bounce around.
For sure. Well, I mean, broadly, like, how's your line going? Are you feeling ready for tomorrow?
Mostly. Actually, I feel stoked. I ticked off one of the biggest drops on my line this morning, so I'm really stoked to tick that off and like link all the way to the bottom. Now I just have to link the top section to that bit. But yeah, stoked. I think I feel somewhat ready for tomorrow.
Cool. Well, congrats. I mean, stoked for you, and I hope it goes great.
Yeah, cheers. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. All right, we are here with Chelsea Kimbell and her S2, not size small, specialized demo. This thing is poppin' pink. You want to run us through the bike a little bit? Like, what makes this thing Rampage ready? Why is it the bike that you brought here for the week?
Okay, one curious fact is that you might have seen me out here on the first ride day, which was Monday. Yeah, Monday. I was on my Status, whole different bike. Yeah. It was silver, beautiful paint job. Rode it on Monday, but realized it's not gonna cut it. Basically, I couldn't control my speed in the steeps.
Yeah, okay.
So kind of last minute decision on Monday night, I dug this thing out of my van and set it up. Rode it on Tuesday and today, and I'm feeling great on this bike. It's super planted, and that's what I want to feel when I'm landing drops. I don't want to bounce. This thing is just floats off nicely and stays planted on the ground for all the traction when I have to slow down for a turn or going into a jump.
For sure. That's cool. It's wild that you made that choice that quickly. Like, is like the Status typically your big jump bike, and this maybe more like a race or just downhill riding bike?
So this year was my first year riding the Status. It just came out, and I've been addicted to it ever since I first got on it because it's so playful. Yeah. But I've realized that Virgin can be playful, but it's also pretty gnarly, and the demo just eats up the gnar.
Cool. Very cool. Are you running the mini mullet that everyone else is? Or are you?
This is normal mullet. This bike is a normal. I'm 5'1", and this bike is 29er up front, 27.5 in back.
Okay.
Maybe it's not the best for 360s, but I haven't learned those yet. Okay. So maybe next year.
I mean, I don't know if you need them. We just saw you stomp that massive drop, and this thing definitely worked under you. I'm noticing some you've got grip tape and stuff on the saddle. Otherwise, a pretty beautifully stocked bike. You got the flamingo ride wrap stuff.
So this is stamps inspired by a trip to Chile, a big film project in Chile that we saw flamingos. So this is custom flamingos right here.
Very cool.
But yeah, I have this. It's kind of like grip tape on the seat, just so your pants don't slip very much for suies.
Oh,
or
sweet.
Whatnot.
Okay.
But my brakes are a little faded because they've been on there all year.
Yeah, I was noticing that they're UV. Silvered out. Yeah. That's crazy.
But luckily TRP brakes work no matter how they look. They work really well, so it's pretty ideal.
Sick. Do you have one good luck token or something on the bike? Maybe it's the flamingos, something that gives you a bit more confidence dropping in on the gnarly stuff out here?
I have to pull out every trick in the books to get myself mentally prepared. Visualization, positive self-talk, talking through my whole run. I do run-ups on my feet, on the bike. I pretend like I watch myself do the line. It takes it takes all the tricks for me, but it works.
And we saw you bust out 30 push-ups before hitting the big drop too. Is that every run you're doing that?
I guess so. I did it before my upper drop as well, but maybe it just helps me get a little amped. So
for sure, whatever works. I think for me 30 would be a lot.
30 for Jordy.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, so sick. Well, good luck tomorrow. Good luck today, linking up the whole run. Hope it's sick. Hope it's fun.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. We are here at the bottom of the hill with Verbeek and her Rampage ready Rocky Slayer. I see it's even got the Rampage 24 paint job, but what else about this bike makes it ready for this hill?
Honestly, this bike's been built, like my previous sleighs have been pretty built for a big mountain free ride, big jumps, big air, stiff suspension. So I do like to have a pretty cushy Yeti seat here because easy to pinch for suicide no-handers, or if things go wrong and you got to ride it out on the saddle. This one's really nice and cushy.
A little more forgiving.
Yeah, totally. And then I went back to DHF in the front instead of Assegai, which is what I run back home.
Okay.
Just less distribution of the traction, just more centered traction.
Okay.
And yeah.
And that just like
DHF
makes
too.
sense in like the loose stuff here more?
Yeah, I just want to have, the hard pack sand can be lacking traction, so having the DHR2 in the back for more braking power, but then also traction in the front. Love that. T-Mac pedals always for just being planted on the bike.
Yeah. You're one of the people here on like more of a trail bike versus like a full-on DH rig.
Yeah.
Are you doing anything different with the bike, or is it stock, like rear suspension wise?
It's a stock full 27.5 Slayer.
Okay.
I do run it always in the slackest position.
Okay.
And other than that, I just like put 2 tokens in my fork and fully maxed out tokens in my shock. And
Sweet.
somehow still blow through all that travel.
I mean, the hits are pretty big, so I believe it.
Yeah, I have like 95 PSI in my fork.
Okay.
I believe 240 PSI in my shock.
Okay.
Which is kind of what I run when I go to places like Darkfest and just big jump events.
Yeah.
But I did go down in tire pressure because you do need that big impact for suspension, but also traction.
Yeah.
So I've gone down to like mid-high 20 PSI.
Okay.
Versus usually at jump events I'll be like 40 PSI in tires.
Yeah. Does your line have some like pretty tech stuff in it as well?
It's got full variety, yeah. There's like steep natural chutes, very high-speed runouts, but also jumps. There's no need for rolling speed here. You just need to be on the brake.
Yeah,
so
right.
powerful Saint brakes for that. And I always run my bike, super light, super sturdy. It's kind of built for this, honestly. It'll mow through lots of technical stuff. It's very planted. So running out of my super high-speed 90 chute still is very much in line. So
Okay, sick.
We're well equipped.
We love to hear it. You keeping anything in your frame storage?
I should. What should I do? I
don't
feel
know.
like all I want is candy.
Yeah, just some candy for the top. I mean, you carried all the way up the top of the hill. You might as well have something in
For
there.
Rampage, probably just a cold, wet towel or
Yeah,
something.
honestly,
It's
yeah,
so
cool.
hot out here.
It's hot. Do you have like a thing or part of the paint job, like some part of the bike that makes you feel a bit more confident? Like this stuff is super gnarly. Obviously, you're used to it, but like for me, in my headspace, I'd be like freaking out at the top of every run. Is there like something that you can like put some trust in and just feel good?
This bike's just very soothing. This paint job, like I just went for something very simple and soothing, and it's got some nature and some Pacific Northwest to it. It's got like the rising moon on top
really,
of it.
Like it's a lovely paint job. Everyone's like super like hair metal paint job. This is like really pleasant. It's
Yeah,
nice.
totally. The light sage green pops really well with the red.
Yeah.
So we went for that, and then just the like curly coiled up ferns is the Pacific Northwest, a variation of this Fibonacci concept we went for.
Cool.
Funny enough, I picked number 6 for my plate, which is also the Fibonacci
there we
curls.
go. Okay.
So everything's just spiraling in the right place and balanced, sturdy. We're well equipped.
Sick. We love to hear it. Well, good luck tomorrow. Hope it's super fun.
Thank you.
Yeah, kill it.
Should be good, thanks.